All right. We got it. We're getting it. We got it. Hello, everyone. While I'm quickly gonna do this, but we are starting the stream. Where is? Okay, I need to hold on.
I'm gonna share the link around with a couple of buddies while
Yeah,
you
maybe
settle.
even like I'm gonna try. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram.
Cool.
I can't fucking. Where is it? Huh? What the heck? Can I find it on YouTube maybe? If I go on like the or can I no, not YouTube? Can I go on like my um view my
For
channel?
sharing the link on Instagram.
No, I did. Yeah, I need. I'm gonna share it on Instagram. Um, I found it finally. I might. I might make. Might change my my YouTube profile picture to the thing I posted today
Oh yeah.
because I really like that image. Uh, that's gonna be a short film too. That's gonna be something. Oh wait, did I not make? Yeah. That's like a short film I'm working on right now. Just a short little thing.
Cool. I'm excited to see.
It's it's like. Do you remember when I made like Biloxi, Mississippi?
Yeah.
That's basically what it kind of. It's like that, but Baton Rouge.
Oh, cool.
I copied the link. I'm being kind of stupid right now. I copied the link on something. Oh my god! Hold on. Did a very not smart thing. Who's all here? No one. Cool. Um.
So you don't have to worry about doing whatever. No one's watching quite yet.
Yeah. I'm just. It's for some reason like not appearing on my. Can I get it to appear, please? Please. Can I go to like view channel and like oh here we go view channel. Here we go. Here it is. 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 That took way longer than it needed to. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting discussion. The FNAF one especially is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
The others maybe not as because I feel like we mostly agree on the other two.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put like what it is. So I'm gonna like say FNAF. Dude, I look. I used to be a big FNAF fan. Just to be honest.
So I was very, very big on it also. I forgot. I don't know which of the two, what the order of which one would have been the last one, whether it be between three. FNAF World, Sister Location, and Ultimate Custom Night. Those are that time period from starting there to onwards. I never watched gameplay of the entirety of any of the other ones. No Pizza Sim, Security Breach, and I think there's another one, but
Yeah.
I have not seen gameplay of the entirety of any of those. Watching this movie actually made me want to. It's going to be a while before I get a computer, so I don't know about. It's going to be a bit before I play them, but the watching the movie actually did make me kind of got me in the mood to watch Markiplier or something play through them.
Yeah. I used to play the games. I used to own the games. I think I still own maybe like 2 or 3 of the games. I played FNAF 2. I played all of them at least on something. I know I played FNAF 2 on computer though.
Mm-hmm.
And I played FNAF World on computer and Sister Location. And Sister Location is when I started giving up on the franchise, honestly.
Oh, really?
Because that's when Scott kind of, I guess, fucked up. That's when he was like, okay, I've lost so much respect for Scott Cawthon over the years in terms of just storytelling and the way he tells a story, because you can kind of tell that some people have made this argument, and I think it's starting to become somewhat true that he's somewhat making it up as he goes along, and he's more lying to people saying that that's not what's happening, but like what's being shown is kind of saying it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And like Matt Pat will make a theory, and then it will somehow end up being true, almost as if he watched Matt Pat's theory and was like, okay, I'm going to add that to my game.
Yeah.
And like that's not good storytelling at all. That's so it's always and like with this movie, I had no faith in this movie. Like I didn't because I don't like the idea of video game movies at all. I didn't like the Mario movie. I didn't like the Ace Attorney movie, which I watched, and I love Ace Attorney. Um, Whenever you're adapting a video game to a movie, it almost never barely works. I'm not gonna say never, but it barely works because they're entirely different storytelling mediums,
Mhm.
and there's like a total different like so much gets left out in the movie version, or so much gets like messed up in the movie version because that's like hours of gameplay you're putting into like maybe an hour and 45-minute movie. And usually like especially when you do stuff like Ace Attorney for example, that has like multiple different characters and multiple different things and multiple different ideas. And you can still do that with a movie, but the way that they did it especially did not work. And a lot of times it just doesn't work because you're cramming something a lot bigger to a smaller runtime. So it's like maybe a TV show would work, and there's actually an anime which isn't particularly great, but it is better for Ace
Mhm.
Attorney. And when it comes to like the Mario movie, I just thought it was very like reference heavy and very like soulless and kind of like a studio thing that didn't feel like I feel like they could have done way better with that. This was a weird one because I did not like it, but I also was like when me and Sam watched this together, we did a watch party for this. I was kind of weird like situation where I was like, I don't like this, but I don't. It's not like the worst thing ever. It's got like I there's things I really hate about it, but there's also things where I'm like, that's not too bad of an idea,
Yeah.
even if it's not completely better, completely perfect. Like I like the idea of like the cupcake going through the vents and like trying to attack the night guard. That's a cool idea. I really like that idea. I don't think it was fully realized, but I did like the idea of that. There's that one transition that was really kind of weird, but that one thing where like he's looking up at the Nebraska thing and like transitions
Oh, and
into the
he would go into the dreams
yeah.
sequence.
And
Yeah.
those dream sequences sucked, but I was like, that's not a terrible like thing to have in a movie. At least it shows that there was like some type of thought put into something.
I will comment on that. One thing that's kind of interesting is um in at my therapist's office, he has this where I like he's sitting to my left and I'm sitting against a wall, um, to his, I guess technically right. But directly in front of me is this really beautiful painting of a creek in the woods. And I notice myself like as he's asking me questions or, we're talking about this and that, I noticed that a long time goes by. Like, and I feel like I do a pretty good job with eye contact and whatnot, but um I noticed that the more I got into my stories, the more I was looking at the painting and not at
Yeah.
him. So it was kind of like hypnotizing in that way, which was kind of interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah, like that's one thing I will give the movie credit that is probably a pretty realistic thing to do that people do. But then the actual dream sequence started, and I was like,
So the dream sequences are a little goofy. I definitely got to admit that right off the bat.
the editing when it first started, especially gave me like ADHD. I was not happy with the way it was edited. It was
It's
like,
definitely age oriented for sure.
yeah,
And I think that I think I can see I think that's both a good thing and also the argument could definitely be made that it's not a great thing either. Reason being, I did like the fact that there was such a mainstream film that did really well too.
mhm,
Um, that is a really, in my opinion, I found it to be a good horror gateway for the younger kids.
mhm.
Because I think it is important that we have newer films come out where, because obviously you can't show them something like The Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw or anything like that, like when they're
Yeah,
super small. So it's like, or well, I guess I saw some of those movies when I was
yeah,
little,
you
but like,
can, but it's not recommended that
it's
you do
not
so.
ideal. Yeah. But this one, I think you could probably take rather younger kids to kids to see this. I think it definitely it fit that PG-13 rating, I think, pretty well. I will say, but at the same time, while I thought that is good that, that that kind of gateway exists, I also do understand why some of the fans were a little upset when it was first announced that it would be rated R, or not be rated R, because it kind of is a rated R story. Like,
Yeah.
sure, the games have um quite a younger audience fan base, but the material is definitely rated R for sure.
Yeah, that's another thing that bugged me especially. I'm like, there's so much you could do here with an R rating and so much more interesting things that would actually be scary or like interesting. But I feel like they kind of just like got scared almost, it seemed. Like they got scared to go too far, so they're like, oh, well, we might not get ticket sales this way. So let's just like imply a lot of stuff and not really do a lot of stuff.
I'm sure a huge population of the box office was kids.
Yeah,
I'm positive that it was.
it was. Because like, and I feel like that's also why a lot of FNAF fans need to chill when it comes to like responding to critics about this. A lot of them are very upset with like how critics are responding, but it's like it's obviously a movie that's not. It's not like a Citizen Kane, and it's very clearly something that like if you enjoy it, that's cool. You are completely entitled to that opinion. But like a critic who's paid to to criticize movies and who has seen a ton of movies, ton of different movies from different genres and different countries maybe and different backgrounds is not going to find that enjoyment because
It's unlikely Five Nights at Freddy's is going to top a lot of the stuff that they see. Yeah.
yeah, it's like because this is kind of a I don't want to say a lowest common denominator movie, but it does go for like things that are like you'd expect from a Blumhouse movie, I guess, where it's like and like I'm not a big fan of Blumhouse. I like maybe two movies they did. They somehow produced Whiplash.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. That's such a random movie for them to
I
produce.
know.
And then
It's
they
like
produced Get Out.
it's easily their best in their catalog, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
But I don't even think of it like as part of their catalog. Like,
yeah. But like it's weird. Like, but I keep hearing people like, oh, people don't like it because they like because I'm hearing like FNAF fans go like, oh, you just didn't read the books or you didn't do this, and you didn't do that. And the problem with that also is that if I have to if I have to read something and watch something and play this other game and also to enjoy the movie, that's kind of a problem.
yeah.
Yeah. Like that's not something like that's the problem with like the MCU or DCU.
Yes, especially recently. Like for me, I know that one MCU film I do want to see that I have not yet is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But I know for a fact that like when it comes to anything I may want to watch, I don't see how likely that would be, but anything I may want to watch in the future from the MCU, or even, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't comment on it yet. But if there's anything that I needed to know that I didn't get from Guardians 2 or Infinity War or Endgame or anything like that, then I'm just
Yeah.
going to have to play catch up. And that's kind of stupid that you would have to make someone pay money to have a Disney Plus subscription, which I don't have Disney
Yeah.
anymore, and they're going to be behind because they didn't see Loki and WandaVision and Hawkeye and all
Dude,
these
I
other
just watched the
movies.
movie. I was like, I don't care. I'm just watching the movie, and I'm gonna
How I'm
criticize
going to
it.
be. It's like I don't have time to watch all of that stuff. That's freaking hours of my time, and I shouldn't have to like watch so much mediocre
Mhm.
just to get to the one thing I want to watch.
Yeah,
You know?
and like what's funny too is that I'm not a big MCU fan, but I actually did kind of like Guardians Galaxy Volume 3. Even I liked it. And I'm a big MCU hater, and I'm like, this is actually pretty good. This is like a
Yeah.
decent. Um, and I if I did miss anything, I don't really care. I just watched it because I was like, hey, it's getting better reviews, even from like friends of mine who like don't like the MCU was like, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna check this out. But yeah, like that's like that's stuff I'm hearing from with FNAF fans now. It's like, oh, they didn't read the books. I read the books. Or I read one of the books. I don't remember a single thing about it. Um, and I'm like, do I really have to go through all this different media that's probably not going to interest me at all just to watch a movie that probably isn't even going to delve into that stuff in a big way because people are like, oh, you have to understand, you have to read this, and like, but there's like, I remember the characters from the books, at least to the point where I remember their names. They're not in here.
Yeah.
Or like, there's nothing here that like, like I guess it. The only possible thing I can think is that it explains how William Afton, for some reason, like knows certain things he probably shouldn't. Like I don't know how he knew it was his brother, or that the thing I don't understand is how he knew that Mike Schmidt was like the brother of the kid he killed, or like that like be like you just grabbed a random like what he was even doing out in that park that one day.
I'm going to tell you the plot hole that I thought was really stupid. The one that made me actually mad, and I was like, okay, I shouldn't let myself get upset, but this genuinely doesn't make sense. Those other ones are valid for sure, but the one that I was genuinely like very confused on is Afton's daughter
Mm-hmm.
is a cop, and if she knew that her dad was bad, why is she just letting him run free?
Yeah, that's true. And like, how another question: where was he? Like, he just kind of appeared in the pizzeria. Like, where was he?
I know, he just kind of shows up like he was there all along. It's like, huh?
Like, you weren't like. And what's even weirder too is like, why did he even get into the spring lock? Because like in the games, he gets in the spring lock suit because he's running from the animatronics. And he did it as a hiding place. What's the reason here? He just showed up in the spring lock suit.
I know he.
He
Now
showed
that you
up.
say that, that is kind of true. Like he's just wearing it to wear it, and then like he kind of walked into his, kind of walked like himself into that one. You know?
Also, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it would have been way more violent. Like realistically, that spring lock failure would have been way more violent.
Yeah.
Especially if we're going like the game. He's in the games. He like, I know it's pixelated in the games. It's like a 8-bit thing, but he like bleeds out.
But in a movie, you should show it. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that.
it's like
Like,
it looks like they're just stabbing cushions.
I also think too, like in regards to the thing about the critics versus the fans, is that like obviously with the um how do I say this? With the lore, I think that was the huge make or break of it, like when
Mhm.
it came to the enjoyment of the movie. Because let me put it this way, I like, I think it sounds like I definitely enjoyed the movie a little more than you did, but I definitely would say that as a movie, it objectively is pretty very all right. Like, I definitely did not hate it. I wouldn't even say I disliked it, but I definitely was like you were saying, there's a lot of things that I feel like it could have benefited more from an R rating, or maybe being in the hands of a different director or the script being tweaked a little differently. And ultimately, how do I say this? The when it comes to the fans, like the the lore and the Easter eggs and references and whatnot were the only reason that I think the movie has enjoyment, because
Yeah.
the plot itself is extremely generic. And I wish they went with something like for a game series that has such I understand what you're saying, like after Sister Location, like, things kind of started falling off. And like, I mean, like I said, that's only up until what I played.
Mhm.
So I can't really comment about what happened after. But for up until then, to that point at least, having a game that did have such a rich and dense storyline, especially for a video game series,
Mhm.
to have a very eh like plot for the
Yeah.
film, I think was just a dramatic drop in quality
I
for
kind
me.
of wish they had not only put the R rating, but they just had fun with it in a sense that like Willy's Wonderland is not a good movie, but Nicolas Cage beating up animatronics is something that makes that movie like work in a
Yeah.
way. Here, this movie just felt like they went for every single like safe and like. I wish it had just took this idea and went like crazy with it. Don't get John Hutcherson or whatever because he's not good, and get someone who's more like with a better screen presence, like Nicolas Cage, or like someone who has a more crazier personality, maybe. have them like playing the night guard and like have them like beating up the animatronics. Just something that's more fun than just like, because I feel like that was the only way this was going to work for me, was if it just took the idea, understood that it was kind of stupid, a little, kind of stupid, and just rolled with it, just had fun with it. And I guess they tried to do that with like the weird 80s montage building a fort thing, but that felt way too like out of place with the rest of the movie and felt more like felt way too weird. Like it felt, I didn't know what to think about that 80s. I was like, this feels like from something from a totally different movie. This is like something you guys just like you guys had this for a different movie and you guys just put it here.
Yeah.
Or
Um,
and yeah, I get it because they're kids and the animatronics are kids and they're gonna act like children or whatever. That's a defense that everyone's saying. But you really take you take away almost all the intimidation factor of the animatronics when you do that. Where it's like when you
right.
have them doing like silly, goofy things.
Yeah, when they become kids, they almost became a little hard to take seriously until Foxy started going crazy. Like, I think like I was like, this is kind of a very strange change of pace. Like when we're just used to, in the games, like them just trying to hunt down and kill the security guard. Like this is a very dramatic like shift. All of a sudden, they're all heartwarming and fuzzy out of nowhere. Like,
And they didn't even really try to kill him until like the final act either.
yeah,
It was like, yeah,
exactly.
like it felt. I went and I there's a criticism that a lot of critics are giving, and I think I actually agree. The more I think about it, I really wish they utilized the cameras more, in the sense that they maybe actually made it towards the spirit of the game, and maybe had some. You can do some fun stuff with the camera mechanic. Like the biggest fear factor of the games is that you're looking at the cameras and you're seeing them move on their own, or like you're seeing them like be at one place and be at another, and like they're approaching towards you. You can do fun stuff with that in a video game segment, not video game, a movie like way. But it felt
Right.
like they didn't. Feel like they were just like you said. I just feel like they didn't really try to do that at all.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think it just could have been more creative. Is
Yeah,
all. That's
definitely.
the biggest thing, and also another thing too, which like I know you said you didn't enjoy the Mario movie, but one thing I will say that made me enjoy Mario more than this was that Mario. I mean, I think from what I remember, it just sounds like the negativity of Five Nights at Freddy's coming from the critics is just a little stronger, like on the negative side than I remember it being for Mario. Like I remember it not being great for Mario, but I
Ma-
don't think they were totally shitting on it.
Mario was an overall better received film as a whole from both audiences and critics. Even if critics didn't love it, I'm pretty sure critics liked Mario more.
Well, with Mario, like the biggest thing that I think Mario did as a video game adaptation better than Five Nights at Freddy's, like when we're talking about recent game adaptations, is sure Mario also had it's not a plot you haven't seen before, but at least if you've never played a Mario game, I think that movie you were able to kind of get behind it, like when it comes to like a way bigger spectrum of people. Like you could have people who've never played a Mario game ever and still say, oh, Mario's the good guy, Bowser's the bad guy. And like you're able to follow along.
Mm-hmm.
People who like me, casual fans, like I understood like a decent amount of the references. And then the hardcore fans where they're like, oh, this, oh, that. And it's like with Five Nights at Freddy's, I think it was, let's just put it this way. I think it's going to be like a 1 in 4 people who, if you have a group of 4 people and none of them have played Five Nights at Freddy's or watched any gameplay or anything like that, I'm going to say it's a 1 in 4 person thing of people
Yeah,
who would be able to enjoy the movie without catching on to references and whatnot.
mostly everyone I've talked to outside of the film community has enjoyed this movie. Mostly everyone I've talked to outside, and I don't know. Some of them are casual fans, some of them are big fans, some of them are not fans at all. Um, I'm actually like the odd one out, and that I hated it, and like they're all like, "Wait, why'd you hate it?" I'm like, and I think this is better than Mario because Mario I thought was just very obnoxious with a lot of its humor and a lot of its like I didn't like the animation all that much. It's illumination animation, and that's never gonna work for me. And here I could at least like enjoy it on a so bad it's good level at times. While
Yeah.
Mario, I feel like Mario just felt like, I don't know, like I was having a headache for the entire movie. While here I wasn't really doing that. I was kind of like, yeah, that's bad, but whatever.
That's fair. It's fair.
Um, the but yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be one that, I mean, like you can just see from the reception, fans are loving it, critics are hating it or not really caring about it. It's one that I think this movie, I don't think it's gonna be forgotten because of how big of a IP it is. But I don't think anyone's gonna walk out this movie going like, "Oh, the screenwriting was so good. Oh, the acting was." Other than, I did not like Matthew Lillard's performance, but he's probably gonna be one that people are gonna say was good just because whatever. I don't know.
I don't think like I feel like people are saying that, but they're so biased because they like his previous work.
Yeah, because
Like
like everything I've ever seen is literally just like comparing it to Scream and like
and
Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo and stuff. Yeah.
Like, have you seen the Instagram reels where it's like them going like, it's like this the scene from Scream where he's like, "I'll be right back,"
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then he said something maybe in like Scooby Doo that was similar, and then and then they showed like FNAF where he says he'll always come back, which was a terrible line adding, by the way. That was a terrible way to add that line. They should not have added the line. I get it; it's the iconic William Afton phrase, but it was cheesy and dumb. It was like, why did you add that line? That was so, I couldn't take it serious already, and then like that line like tipped the iceberg. Like, I don't know, just tipped the scale for me when it comes to like not taking him seriously.
Yeah. I just overall as a movie, I wish there was a little more. You know, it's far from like one of my friends like was going off just roasting the hell out of it, saying how it's one of the worst movies ever made. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you've never seen, you haven't even scratched the iceberg of terrible movies. If
You
you
haven't
think Five
seen
Nights at Freddy's is one of the worst you've ever seen.
like, no, don't get me wrong. I do not like this movie. It's like a 3 out of 10 for me, but it is not one of the worst I've ever seen. I, I don't. What was my least favorite movie of all time again? I don't fucking remember. I think it might be like Look What Happened to Rosemary's Baby or something like that. Like the sequel
Mhm.
to Rosemary's Baby or something like that.
I didn't even know that had a sequel.
It did. It was written. It was directed by the editor of Rosemary's Baby.
Oh my.
Yeah, and it was like a made-for-TV movie that I don't even think the version that I watched is on YouTube, and I don't even think it was like complete. I think it was
Mm.
like there were scenes probably cut out. I'm pretty sure or something.
Yeah.
Really bad though. But like this, no, it's not the worst. It's not even the worst horror movie of the year. We've had worse. I thought like Scream 6 was worst. Was worse. Exorcist Believer was worse. Um, yeah, like Exorcist Believer is the worst horror film we've had this year. Like this is not near that level. It's just still bad, but like whenever I was finished, I'm like, yeah, this is. I was teetering between like a 3 or 4 out of 10. I'm pretty confident that it's a 3 out of 10 now. After like thinking about it more, like, and there's things that I really don't like about it, but like it's not the. It could have been so much worse. I feel like, but also could have been so much better.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just could have been so much better. It could, even if like, even if it was just like mid, but like it wasn't even mid to me. I genuinely did not like it. Like I wish it was more just mediocre than bad. But whatever, it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a FNAF movie. What were you gonna expect? You know.
Yeah.
Um, it was funny. I did kind of like that they played the Living Tombstone song at the end of the movie.
I was about to bring that up. I think out of all the fan service moments, that was definitely the best part for me. Like I got so excited in that bit. But then my sister tried to jam and they cut it with the post credits. They were like, "What?" And
Yeah,
then
yeah. That.
luckily it came back, but it was like, "Why the hell did you cut that?" Like,
Oh yeah, the cameos. Oh god. Look, for starters, I think the Matt Pat cameo is just cringe. I don't like it. It's,
it was so silly.
by
Yeah.
the way, he has a Ness. His thing is Ness. His little like name tag's Ness
Oh,
on his
really?
uniform. And I'm like, why would you reference his worst theory, or like one of his worst theories, which is like the Sans is Ness thing. Um, and it's like, and then he had Corey Kenshin, who just did not fit at all and did not need to be in the movie. I don't know why they had him in. I guess I understand fan service wise, he is a big FNAF guy, I guess, or he's a big guy in the community. But main reason why I'm not really for like just it's like at least with like you could make an argument for Markiplier, maybe, but anyone else and maybe Matt Pat, but just they could have done his cameo better. But like cameos are such just like a weird like if movies unless it's like maybe like a comedy, most cameos don't work.
Yeah, Markiplier is the only one I would have wanted to see, I think, for
But
sure.
he had to do Iron Lung, and that's why he couldn't be in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was bad, but not like the worst thing ever. It could have been worse. Could have been better. I don't. Yeah, three out of 10 probably for me.
Okay. I'm definitely a lot higher. I would definitely say like just because I purely on entertainment, I would say an extremely soft 6,
Hmm.
probably.
Hmm.
But it's definitely, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a very flawed film for sure.
I feel like your opinion on this movie is similar to my Saw X opinion.
Oh, really?
More similar to my Saw X opinion. But we'll get to that when we do. I probably should have done. I probably should have made little tiny like things on the side that told people what we were talking about. But I don't feel like doing that now.
Oh, well.
So I guess we can start if we're done with FNAF.
Let's
Killers of
start
the
with
Flower
Killers of the Flower
Moon,
Moon.
the best one on this stream, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I,
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
yeah. Scorsese, man, like, dude's not. He's missed, but like recent years from Wolf of Wall Street to this, he has not missed.
Yeah, he is like, and what's kind of funny is like he was saying how, um, like, um, Akira Kurosawa, how it wasn't until the very end of Kurosawa's career that he started to be like, oh, wow, I'm actually understanding what it means to make a movie. Well, Scorsese says that he's started to kind of feel that way too. And what's funny is I think he's been making masterpieces
Yeah,
since Taxi Driver, which is my favorite.
same.
Um, but what's funny is like, yeah, since he's had that realization, like in the last, like, you know, I think, Hugo is okay, I
Yeah.
think, but like when you look at all the films he's made in this century, like The Departed, it is The Departed, no hard R's around here.
Hmm.
Um, and Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, The Irishman. I mean, they're so freaking good, like
Yeah.
genuinely.
He nothing he's made has been a 10 out of 10 for me. Taxi Driver's close. I was actually gonna rewatch Taxi Driver, and then I was so tired that I was gonna do it for his birthday, and then I was so tired that I didn't. Um, but yeah, he's always a director that, for the most part, other than maybe like three movies I've seen from him, I've enjoyed mostly everything he's done, or that I've at least appreciated a lot of what he's done. Like even like Shutter Island, which I think is just kind of decent. I still think is like there's a lot to appreciate about it. Um, in this movie in particular, there's a lot to appreciate and love. It's really a lot of what he does well in terms of like because Scorsese always knows how to like just tell a really good story about a certain subject matter. Goodfellas about the mob, Irishman also kind of about the mafia, but also about like this about the conspiracy of the guy who died. I don't remember who, but it was like about the conspiracy of like what he thought happened or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street with Jordan Belfort, Silence with Religion. He knows how to just really like he knows how to really go into detail about these situations, and also really highlight how it feels to be the people in these situations. How it feels to even whenever he's like a totally different like with the Osage. Like he's a white man making a movie about like a Native American tribe, but he's still able to. It almost like he still understands them and understands how important the story is.
Yeah.
Because that's like the biggest criticisms that people like Tarantino get is like he's a white person. He made like Django Unchained or like
And
Glorious Death.
yeah, and I think it's really unfair to say just because, um, especially with this movie in particular,
Mm-hmm.
he went before the movie even started getting made. He went to the chief of the Osage tribe to ensure accuracy. There were a lot of translators that the chief himself sent to work on the film. And overall accuracy was a really important thing. And I'm sorry, but it's just way too big of an event for as long as 3.5 hours is, because it's a really long movie. That still is not enough time to tell the whole story. And I know that a lot of people were getting upset about that, and they were like, see, this is why white people can't do it. And it's like, okay, that's just kind of stupid, because, I mean, it's just so broad of a thing.
He I don't like the criticism either that like, oh, because it's a certain person, like, a certain type of person making a movie, like it doesn't matter who you are as long as you're able to make it respectful, like Scorsese does. But yeah, this movie, it's a big movie, and it still does not scratch the surface of like all the different political angles and stuff that this event caused. But it's still fantastic for what it is. I mean, you have just a really pretty great story, and one that I was when the trailers came out and I saw like trailers when going to see like Oppenheimer or whatever. I was a little scared because the story didn't look like something that would last for 3 hours or 3 hours and more. I just the way I was like, oh, I trust Scorsese, but I hope that I'm worried. And then whenever I watch the movie, I'm like, this actually works fine. 3 hours for the most part.
Yeah,
It's one that really like even my mom really enjoyed it, and she doesn't like very long stuff. Like it's one that's it hooks you in a very effective way by showing you just like all the tragic things that have happened, by giving you characters like even on the bad side, all the characters are very investing and very enjoyable. Even like the bad guys or like the people who are doing the murders, like Leo's character is like very interesting and even enjoyable at times.
Yeah, he's very good at making it easy to get behind protagonists who also are antagonists as well. He makes it somehow like I've never seen anyone make them like as easy to get behind as it is with how Scorsese writes his characters.
Yeah, because like any other director would probably make this following the Osage completely and makes the killers just completely like no personality whatsoever. Whatever, like if anyone else had this script or had this idea, it would be there would not be as much depth. I feel.
I agree. I think it was only something he could do, honestly.
I can think maybe a few, like maybe Paul Thomas Anderson could have done it, maybe because he had like There'll Be Blood that has similar like writing stuff. But this is a movie that definitely feels like a Scorsese film in terms of how it just really gets in there.
Yeah.
Performances, all pretty great except for Brendan Fraser.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he felt out of place. I'm like, you guys could have casted a more intimidating actor. Be like, he's supposed to be like this lawyer who's supposed to be like very intimidating almost, and kind of like he's trying to intimidate Leo into speaking on the side of his uncle. And there's a certain line deliveries. I'm just like, that's not working as well as I can tell that it's trying to. I love like The Whale, and I love his performance in The Whale. It's not that Brendan's a bad actor. I just don't think he was the right casting for this character. Yeah. Everyone else though was great. Like, what's her name? Lily Gladstone.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I
Like,
haven't seen her in. Is it Certain Women? Is that the
it's
name of the
Certain
movie?
Women. I have not seen it either, but I have been wanting to.
Yeah, in fact, I haven't seen a Kelly Reichardt movie yet.
Same, and I've been wanting to.
I know she's a filmmaker I really have been excited to check out. Just haven't made the time to yet. But I mean, I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about not only that movie but also her role in it, and I think it's ultimately what got her part. So they say.
I know Dominic probably wants us to watch some Kelly Reichardt because he likes her, I'm pretty sure. Or he's seen like one or two.
He does. Old Joy is one of his favorites.
Yeah, Old Joy is the one that I think I heard about first from him. Um, but she's phenomenal in here. Robert De Niro is also fantastic. I think out of the three performances, Leo gives the weakest, but he's still great. Just like you have like two powerhouse performances in Robert De Niro and Lily Gladstone, and then you just have a very like a great performance in Leo. But that's not insulting Leo. It's just simply he's
He
like
doesn't do as much as the other two.
yeah, you're
Even
just
though he's the main character, he's
mhm,
not like it's a different kind of performance. I know what you
yeah.
mean.
I love a lot of especially what Robert De Niro was doing here. Like yeah, we've seen him. He's one of the biggest actors working today. He's been in so many different stuff, but it still feels like almost like a new performance for him.
Mhm.
I don't think I've seen him this in like of an intimidating role in a while, at least. Maybe
Yeah,
since like
not
Goodfellas.
like this. Yeah.
Maybe since like Goodfellas or something like that. Because he was kind of a similar role in Goodfellas in the sense that he's kind of like a father figure or whatever to the main character, or like somewhat of a that type of character, boss character. But here, you could tell that there's like so much malice behind everything he does, even whenever he's doing something good. Like,
I definitely think Robert De Niro's character in this film had the most layers out of any of the characters in the movie because he was just such a two-faced bastard.
yeah,
Like he's doing like the classic example of like your enemy staying closer,
hmm
than your friends sometimes. And that's exactly what he was doing to the Native Americans. But really he was just the whole time planning, well, not only planning to be greedy, he was greedy and was trying to do something really bad, you know.
it's insane. He's like you fully understand why Leo would trust him too, or like why anyone would trust him. He seemed like this nice old man who like to them he seemed like this nice old man, but you also feel that like you can also tell why people were skeptical of him and also how he could probably do this stuff. And when you actually see him do it, it's like it's still almost surprising.
Yeah, and he kind of like it kind of reminded me like especially of um the scene in the jailhouse. Um
Mhm.
he does a really good job. It reminded me of like I don't know, Hannibal Lecter. Excuse me, voice crack. Hannibal Lecter is something where it's like he's just really good at like getting inside someone's head and manipulating him.
Yeah.
Like, and that's definitely that scene in the jailhouse, that exchange of dialogue was like,
Mhm.
I mean, he didn't freak out on Leo at like, he got a little angry towards the end, but he didn't like freak out on him like I was kind of expecting it to go. He
Mhm.
like, even then, even when De Niro's life was on the line, he still somehow remained calm and didn't appear overly desperate. Like he was desperate, but he wasn't like showing it really. And it was like, damn, this guy is like, he's good at his craft for sure.
It's a thing also where like it almost makes you wonder if he really did feel any form of sympathy for anyone. Like when Leo finds out his daughter is dead, or is it daughter? Yeah, daughter is dead. And like that scene where he's crying in the cell and like De Niro's like praying for her or whatever. It really makes you wonder like is he actually praying in the sense that he actually does hope that she's going to heaven, or does he just like doing it so then Leo will trust him? And
True.
like it's such that's so many layers of just like so many layers of like whether or not you can trust him or not. Because like technically the movie at that point especially had given you a ton of reasons not to trust him.
Yeah. And
But
it's
then
one of those people you almost can't trust anything they do or say.
yeah, it's like another really good performance is Jesse Plemons, who's usually really good in a lot of what he does, and he's really good here. Um,
You did see him in Breaking Bad, I'm assuming.
no, I saw
Oh,
him
no.
in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is like my favorite performance of his.
Yeah, that is. There's still. I actually looked today. There's still a few Charlie Kaufmans I've not seen, and that's your favorite filmmaker slash writer, right?
Yeah, I put
Yeah.
him in like both categories because I don't know what to put him in. And like, but like even in like Power of the Dog, he's really good. And that's not like a fantastic movie, but like I got a notification. I want to make sure it was. But that's not like a phenomenal movie. I really liked it, but like it wasn't phenomenal. But he did a great job in that. And here he does a similar performance than what he does usually too. What's funny, but he's still able to be very compelling and kind of show multiple layers of whether or not he trusts Leo or trusts Robert De Niro or whoever.
Yeah. Here, take it away for one sec. I have to go grab something real quick. I
all
will
right,
be right back.
I will try to. Hello, everyone. If you'd like to ask some questions while we're doing this, while I'm waiting, that's cool. Um, that's a nice neck there. Thank you for complimenting my neck. You know what? Popeyes has good chicken. You know what? Popeyes has good chicken. They do have good chicken. Popeyes has some decent chicken.
Popeyes is probably my. Well, I don't know if you have. I don't think you said you have In-N-Out, right?
I've never been to an In-N-Out, so I'm in Louisiana, and I'm in like central Louisiana, so I don't know.
I think
Well,
In-N-Out.
I don't know where In-N-Outs are. If
I
they
think
are here,
In-N-Out's are only on the west. I like In-N-Out a lot. Obviously, it's hamburgers and not chicken. But if we're talking about fast food in general, probably my favorite is either In-N-Out or Popeyes. By the way, sorry about that. My fam, I said this earlier. If anyone from Instagram is on or whatnot that was watching us on live earlier, sadly I got COVID, so that was my family giving me a little dinner.
uh, I had chicken today. Actually, that's funny. We're talking about chicken. I had chicken literally a few minutes ago. But yeah, on the topic of fast food, I don't know. I love Popeyes though. Popeyes is great. I like Cane's also. I have a Cane's nearby, so I go there a lot too. When I
Yeah,
do
mac
go
and
out.
sauce is pretty good.
Um, but yeah, back to Killers of the Flower Moon. I guess I don't. Um, visually, it looks great too. I mean, Scorsese movies usually look great, except The Aviator, which I didn't think looked very good. But
I think that one has a lot to do with the visual graphics. I think we just weren't in a great place with digital effects yet, and obviously there's a lot of
yeah,
that in that movie. So I
and
think I
color
can
grading,
understand about that one.
and color grading also. There was some really weird color grading choices in that movie. But here again, great cinematography, editing. There was one scene that I was a little confused on the editing choice. It's when he's getting interrogated, and like I guess it was supposed to show passage of time. They like, oh, we're gonna ask you some questions. He like puts his head down or up. I don't remember which way, but and then like it just fades, and then fades back into that shot, to the same shot. That was a little weird. It was a very weird transition. I guess it was supposed to be like a transition of time, but since it was going back to the exact same shot, it was done in a really weird way. But other than that, the editing was great. But that was the only scene where I was like, okay, that's a little weird. But editing
Yeah.
was great. There was that one transition that I really liked. That was from like daytime to nighttime, or maybe like like it like panned and like it turned into night. That was a fun transition. A lot of personality with this. Set design, costume design. It will probably get nominated for some Oscars in those categories. I'm gonna. It's Scorsese also, so it'll probably get Best Picture, or at least nominated, at least a nomination for Best Picture. And I wouldn't be against that at all.
It's going to get nominated for something. And I mean, we have to see some of the other things that are going to make their way on. But I mean, as of right now, I have no problem having that as my vote. I know Anatomy of a Fall, I still got to see, and there's a few others, but
I can see Anatomy of a Fall being nominated since it looks like something that'll be nominated, and also it won the Palme d'Or. And last year we had the Palme d'Or winner that got nominated.
yes.
And we also have. I honestly, I guess Oppenheimer, yeah. Barbie probably also. If it's big, it's probably gonna get nominated. If it's like a big movie, yeah. Of
I mean,
course,
they usually are. It's rare that
no horror movies.
yeah, they're just race. Excuse me, they're just racist towards horror, dude. Like you're just not gonna see it. I think was it Silence of the Lambs was the last time anything got on. I'm trying to remember.
Get
I
Out
know
was
that was a big one.
Get Out got a Best Picture nom,
That's
but it
true.
didn't win,
True.
and it won Best Original Screenplay.
That's yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is the only horror movie to win Best Picture, though.
I feel like the problem is with I don't want to get too off topic, but I feel like the problem is with horror and the Oscars. A lot of the horror we like as horror fans enjoy, like say Evil Dead, it's just not as much like award show kind of worthy material as
Yeah,
it is like fun, you know.
it,
Like
it, it's also that the Oscars really like feel good stuff or stuff that's like not really like even if they nominate like Killers of the Flower Moon, they're never gonna nominate like a gore fest or something like Climax or
yeah,
something that's
you're not
gonna
gonna
like
see any no way, you're not gonna see any Terrifier, you're not gonna see anything like
or like
that.
Lars von Trier or something. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna see any of that. But yeah, this will definitely get a nomination. It'll probably get some of the most nominations. It seems like a movie that will get a lot of nominations.
I mean, with the movie so big and with so many layers to it in the filmmaking, like it's bound to get like I would also say as of what I've seen, I would predict that's gonna get the most.
Mm-hmm. It was
That
so,
and probably Oppenheimer too. Like I feel like there's a lot of sound stuff and score stuff for Oppenheimer that might as well, but
I'm gonna say that Oppenheimer is gonna get the most nominations. Dune Part Two would have probably gotten it if it didn't get delayed. But this will probably get. I think Oppenheimer will get most nominations. It seems it's a very technical heavy movie in a sense that that's the biggest thing carrying the movie at times. I feel like at times I like the movie. It's a really good movie. I liked it, but it's one that I think you love it mostly for the technical stuff,
yeah, exactly. Like
and it's gonna be one that
not
I feel like is like a
enjoyment
given.
wise, something I like as much of or as much as I do with some of Nolan's earlier films.
Mhm.
Like his earlier stuff is very heavy on the entertainment, greatly written and all that. But Oppenheimer, like, yeah, like dialogue, I had some problems with. Um, and just overall, like when it came to the enjoyment, it just was all for appreciating the technical side of
I
like,
personally really enjoyed it, but like it's one that like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, does it sit with me as much as like some other movies from this year or just like from like Nolan's catalog as a whole?
right.
Kind of reminds me of like I liked Beau is Afraid, but it kind of reminds me of that also. A lot of the 3 hour long movies, with the exception of Killers of the Flower Moon, have gone worse for me. Killers of the Flower Moon has been fine though in terms of how it's aged for me. But a lot of we've had a lot of 3 hour long movies this year.
Yeah. So I think that might be a good time to bring up something about the runtime of Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
about the controversy of it being like we have one side of the flip coin, it's not long enough,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's other people who say it is too long. And for me, look, it's not a film that the okay, how do I say this? The only thing that has kept me from racing back to the theater as fast as I can to see it a second time. And I do want to see it while it's in the theater still, but for a second run. But the only thing that's kept me from running as quick as I can back is the runtime. That's the only thing that's stopping me. And it's not because I think it's too long or too slow. It's not because of that. It's just that I feel like a movie over 3 hours is quite a commitment. Like
It
you
is.
have to plan your whole day around that, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, definitely. Because like, so when I went to go see it, me and my mom were like, okay, so we need to find a day that's literally just like we're not doing anything, and we're not, like, and luckily we've been bored for most of the past few weeks, except for school, of course. But like, so he's picked like a weekend and watched and saw it. And by the way, almost empty theater,
Wow.
almost empty, except for two people who would not shut up. That's it.
I feel like that's always how it is. It's like, yes, whole theater to myself, and then two
Two
people
more
come
people.
in. You're
Yeah,
like, okay, fine. Hopefully they're all right. And then they're just total dickwads.
yeah.
It's like, really?
You know something funny? I was thinking about this. I was like, it's almost ironic that a movie that was such an important subject matter that needs to be seen by more people because how much it's been silenced. I go to the theater and barely anyone's there. And like people who are there are barely like caring.
Yeah.
It's like it was the theater was all the way in the back of the theater too. Like the room was I was I literally walked I've been to that theater so many times, all right? And I walked back there and I'm like, these theater rooms exist? They were all the way in the back. It was a small theater too. And I'm like, it makes me sad and it made me wish that I like brought more people or something like that. It wasn't just my mom. But I have so many friends who probably would not go see a 3 hour long drama with me.
It's just like I said, it's a commitment. Like
It is a
that's
commitment.
the only thing.
It's a
But
worthy commitment.
aside from that, that's the only big nitpick I can say about the film. You know.
Yeah, like I have my small little nitpicks. I think that maybe the second act could have been maybe a little bit trimmed, maybe. But for the most part, I was invested for most of the movie, if not all
Yeah.
of it. The ending was pretty phenomenal.
Oh man, ending gave me chills like from head to toe.
And what's crazy too is like, oh my god, like I remember it was such a tonal whiplash, but in like the best way possible. Because it kind of just like the way it goes is like it starts off with just Leo sitting in the room, and then just out of nowhere you're put in like a totally different area with like all these people who like aren't even in the movie or anything like that. You know, like all these people, and then like when I saw Scorsese show up, I was like, holy shit! How I didn't expect like I knew he had a role in the movie because I saw the cast and I saw he was in the movie. But, like I'm like, well, he usually cameos in something, so like it's not like. It, but to see that the fact that I think it meant a lot to him. This subject matter obviously meant a lot to him for him to do what he did in the ending of this movie.
Yeah. And also with that too, I mean Jack White, like what? Showing up at the end.
There's so many like, and I love just like the just like I like the final scene with all them doing the drums. But honestly, if he had just rolled the credits after he had said that, I think it would have also just been perfectly fine too. Because it gave me chills. It was just absolutely like, and that just like stare he does off into the camera. Like he's not even looking. He's barely looking at the thing he's looking at. And I'm pretty sure I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the seats were empty in that theater.
From what I remember, I don't remember seeing any people.
And I think that may have also been a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Like he's preaching to some like no one's wanting to listen. It's almost as if he's like judging people as he's reading, as he's like staring out to like kind of like like you guys have silenced this, and with like the final line of like there was nothing about the murders really I think hits that home too. Is like no one cared about the murders.
Yeah.
After they happened, it was.
I have never heard of this historical event or period before the movie, which goes to show it really has been swept under the rug for a long time. And I don't know. I love that these stories that we've never heard before or haven't been well made known, such as this, are finally, it's taken a long time to get to hear it, but to have it happen at all is a very satisfying thing for me, for sure.
And to have it be done by like such big people to where it might actually get traction, and like actually like and for such a great director too.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? This would also be a good time to bring up the whole thing about that, especially has come a rise with this particular Scorsese film, being that about how his thing against the MCU right now and about like blockbuster films in general. And one thing that I heard that was so stupid about the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's in line with Killers of the Flower Moon. I heard more than one person say, oh, he's just very afraid that Killers of the Flower Moon is not going to perform well in office because the Marvels is coming out like not long after, and he just is afraid that it's going to underperform and no one's going to show up. And it's like and they said, well, if he's afraid of that, maybe he should just make a better movie. And I'm like, You sound so stupid saying that.
People showed up. More people showed up for this movie than the Marvels. I'm pretty sure the Marvels is one of the biggest flops.
I think it was a big flop of the MCU for sure.
It did, and this movie, I don't think it did phenomenally at the box office because it was very big budgeted and there's multiple things come out, But
It's a hard budget to bring back.
Yeah.
But I don't think Scorsese, who has made so many influencing and important and should we just say great movies, up until then, someone with such a household name as himself, I don't think he's the least bit worried about how well or not well the movie's gonna do.
I forgot the Marvels is even coming out.
He obviously he's doing it with the intent of having it be a part of his career. He's not doing it for free, but I don't think he was overly worried about, I needed to make 3 times its budget back. I don't think that was the case.
Like I just said, who cared about the Marvels in general?
Exactly.
Literally, I forgot the movie was even coming out until it came out. I completely forgot that was the thing that was even happening. Actually, until I saw a trailer for it when seeing this movie, was when I remembered. And I'm like, nobody cares about the Marvels. No one's, or even the only movie that did better, I think FNAF, of course, did better than it. But even then, it's not like he cares. I don't.
Yeah.
He's not doing it for the money. Of course, he wants it to be successful. Of course, he's doing it as a job. He needs the money. You don't want to make a movie and it fail, of course. But it's not something that he's just in it for the money.
Yeah. And I think that's it's definitely not the kind of movie. When you look at the subject matter, it's not the kind of movie where, I'm going to make a buck off of these people suffering. I don't think it was like that at all. I'm sure that was the very last thing he ever even thought of, if at all.
Yeah, that's a really weird. I think I heard something similar, but I can't remember. That's a really weird complaint or weird statement.
It's just stupid. And it just shows they're such a hater, and very much so on the Marvel and blockbuster side of the spectrum, as opposed to to Scorsese kind of films, I guess. But I will say, either way, I am regardless happy that such an important movie made by such a great filmmaker was not only made, but people should. I mean, sadly, like you said, at your theater, it wasn't the case, and I'm sure that was the case for a number of screenings too. But I'm glad that it did have such a mainstream following and piece of attention. People definitely went to see this movie.
Yeah,
articles were definitely written about this movie. So I'm glad that it definitely got attention for sure.
Yeah, and it's definitely one that I think will keep getting attention especially for Oscar season, and will probably stay in a good lane until maybe the end of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how The Irishman was, I think. I think The Irishman didn't die down until the end of the year it came out.
I think a lot of people, funny enough, too, it coming out or it coming in 2019. I think in 2020, a lot of people, I know even one of my friends, this was true for him. A lot of people were getting bored during COVID and just trying to find something to watch.
Yeah.
And they were looking for long things to pass the time, like a show or a really long movie or a series or a franchise. And they were like, wow, 3 hour-long movie, let's go, or 3-hour movie, let's go. The Irishman, it just came out, it's new, I haven't seen it yet, woohoo, it got Oscar nominations. I think that was I think a lot of people watched that movie over the COVID.
I want to rewatch that movie. I need to rewatch it.
I just did for the first time since I had seen it, which was back in 2019. It held up so good. I think that one I feel is a little slower than Killers of the Flower Moon, but it is also a very different kind of movie because I feel The Irishman was more like a character study, whereas Killers of the Flower Moon, I mean, there's character study in there, but it's more to illustrate a historical event.
I am very satisfied with the way this movie turned out. I'm very happy that I'm happy that my fears were diminished, I guess, or were like, they didn't come true. My fears didn't come true with this movie. Because I was a little afraid when the trailers came out. Because like my biggest fear was just like I said, I was scared that the runtime wasn't gonna feel justified or wasn't gonna feel because it when looking at like what the concept for the movie was before the movie came out, it was like this feels more like a TV series or like something that's more like. So I was a little scared when I was like, is this gonna work? And it surprisingly is like the 3 hour long movie of the year that's worked the most for me. So it's great. 8 out of 10 for me.
I'm also gonna say strong 8 out of 10, and also just I better pull up the picture just so nobody thinks I'm lying. If my I'm literally at 1%. Let's see
Oh
if
yeah,
I
you
can.
saw this before anyone, or like before I did. Like
I saw
you
this
saw it
before any American did, or
Yeah,
before any American screening.
didn't you? Oh yeah, you had like a special screening or something like that, didn't you? Or like it was something
I
like
did. I went to the. Hold on, let me just get my charger here.
it was like a festival or something.
Ah, damn it! My phone died. Whatever. Well, of
I just
course.
noticed you have a John Carpenter's The Thing poster right there. That's nice.
Oh, thank you. Okay. We'll let my phone charge. I do need to pull up the picture, so because I know someone's gonna call me out and say I'm lying for saying so, even though it's not true. But let me see here. But I guess we'll talk about our next movie for a little while here before I show this, because now I kind of have to show it now that I said it. Sorry about that. I totally just played myself there.
Like, I'm gonna show you guys this really cool thing.
My phone died. But anyway, so yeah, I'm also gonna go for a strong 8 out of 10. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It's for sure like of recent Scorsese, it's definitely one of the best ones for sure. For sure, I loved the hell out of it, and definitely in my top 5 of the year so far. Absolutely.
I don't think it's top 5 of the year for me. I've seen a lot from this year though, so it's like let me look what my ranking of the year is just so I can see where it is. I'm pretty sure it's high though. It's like top maybe like 10 top. It's number 8 in my ranking right now. So yeah, it's also number 8 in my Scorsese ranking too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? Well, there's been a lot of great movies this year so far. So
that's like music. Like right, it's a. I think it might be a lower 8. I when I walked out of the theater, it was a strong 7, and then like as I let it sit with me on the car ride home, I was kind of like, this is actually pretty fantastic. Like
I had to sit with it for a little while to figure out if it was an 8 or a 9. Like I really wasn't sure, but I think, like I said, I can't say that it's as rewatchable as some of Scorsese films or even like more recent Scorsese films. Like all I know is when I watched Silence, I was ready to show that movie to people.
Yeah.
Like, and that one is not as long, but it's also not a short movie either. So
Silence is also more violent and more like
yeah, exactly.
depressing.
So it was like, well, when it comes to Scorsese films, like I thought about where it is for other films of the year that I've rated and other Scorsese films in general. And while it's not one of the more rewatchable ones, it is a great effort, and it shows for how old he is. He is still kicking it like no manana. Yeah. So there is that.
My top like 4 is After Hours, Raging Bull, King of Comedy, and Taxi Driver.
Ooh, those are all good. Yeah, I think my 4 would probably be from 4 down. Well, actually, I'll give my top 5 from 5 down to 1. I'd say probably Silence, Goodfellas. Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, and then I would say The Departed and Taxi Driver.
The Departed is one I need to rewatch. That's not even like top 10 for me. So is Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street's not top 10 either for me. I've seen 16 of his movies.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm probably about the same range.
I guess are we done with Killers of the Flower Moon?
Almost. My phone actually just loaded. So,
all right, we'll see. Did you was Scorsese at your screening? Is that what you're gonna say?
Oh yeah. Let's see.
That's awesome.
Where was it? This was October, right? Yeah. So yeah, I was in a little quick background context. Oh, I should also show, just for fan service, anyone who is my phone going to let me look at my pictures? Oh my gosh, my phone is just like out to get me today.
My phone is always out to get me.
It really fucking is, damn it. For fan service, real quick. So yeah, I was in England. Anyone who knows Honor, here
Oh
he is.
yes, Honor, my boy.
Met, yeah. Let's see.
The only actually, Alex, I'm pretty sure other than you, other than Gavin, Honor's like the only other person who streamed with me. You're the first person. You're like the first person.
Oh, I feel honored then.
Yes.
Let's see.
Other than like one stream I did with Gavin, it's like mostly just been Honor.
I think I remember that specific stream too.
It was a horror stream. It was a horror top 30 or something, horror movie stream. I think it was on his channel, not mine.
So here, the lady on with the red book is the question lady, the host. On the very, what is that? Your guys' left, that is the chief of the Osage tribe, and in the middle is Little Marty himself.
Yes.
He was, so there was actually, so this was real quick, I'll say. So we found out like 3 days before there was a screen talk, and it's up on YouTube for anyone who wants to watch it. I do recommend it. We started it, but it's an hour long, so we watched it in parts. But a screen talk occurred not long before where Edgar Wright asked Scorsese questions for a Q&A. Not audience questions, but an interview. Edgar Wright interviewed him, and I was like,
heard that.
Oh my God. I was like, I have to go. But sadly, that got sold out. And so we didn't get to, I would have loved to watch that. It was so funny watching Edgar Wright he's such a little kid as it is, like with this, just, he reminds me of like a more like, excuse me, like kind of like Tarantino in some ways, where they make movies for movie fans. And anyway, it was just so funny to see Edgar Wright, like a little kid, like he's holding his knee, like so excited, like listening to these answers. But anyway, so I missed out on that. Sadly, it just got sold out to the members first, but I was visiting my cousin in England, or cousins, and that's how we were able to go. It happened during our trip, was the BFI Film Festival. But anyway, when we get there, there's these 3 little seats up on the stage, and we're in like the 6th row. And I was like, what? Because we knew we missed the Edgar Wright screening, but we were like, what are these chairs? And my cousin is all like, oh, what do you think, Alex? You think he's going to be here? And I'm like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up, but clearly those chairs are there for a reason. Somebody's going to sit there. And all of a sudden she brings out Scorsese, and here it comes on out. And I swear for like 5-ish seconds, he held eye contact with me. I was that close. I was like, oh my I don't know what I looked like, dude, but I swear for the first 5 minutes they were talking, I don't even know how much of it I heard or didn't hear. I was just so like, I couldn't believe, like, it's one of those things you almost forget they're a real person for half a second. It's like
that was me. So whenever Sean Baker had announced that he was making a new movie, I posted an Instagram story about it, and I tagged him in the Instagram story, and he actually responded to the story. Or he hearted it, and I'm like, holy shit! He actually I feel like usually when you do that, if they're famous, they're not going to notice you.
They're rarely going to see it. Yeah,
like
that happened with me in A24 too. Like with Beau is Afraid. I remember I reposted something, and A24 saw my and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Scorsese hasn't even seen my story that I tagged him in, but yeah, it's like I remember when he did that, I was like, holy shit, he actually like noticed that I not even seen it, but also hearted it. Yeah. Like, he also reacted to it.
Exactly. So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Like you do kind of just forget, like, this is like he's a real person, but like you just feel like so like, because I love Sean Baker. Like
that's the thing with them too. I think I feel bad saying this, but like with someone like Sean Baker being younger and knowing how to like, I mean, I feel like there's no way to say it without making Scorsese like calling him old. Like there's no way to say it nice, but you know what I mean? Like just knowing how to operate it, I guess. One of my film professors, she was Facebook friends with him when he first made an account she was friends with him for like 2 weeks. And then his manager came along and said, all right, we need to make this more business oriented. This is like when Facebook was like brand new. And she's like, and then he unfollowed me. I was like devastated.
Yeah, I mean that probably wasn't even his fault. I'm pretty sure his manager made him or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure the manager told him like you need to only be following like these people, and But anyway, so we're going on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah,
But what do you say?
I
Should
mean,
we
it's
start
still
talking about
somewhat
Saw?
Killers of the Flower Moon related.
It is. It is.
But I guess we can move on to Saw X, which probably been one of the most fun ones we're gonna talk about on here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so I'm a Saw fan, all right. I'm gonna call myself a Saw fan. They're guilty pleasures for me. I'd say I have a list of my guilty pleasures on Letterboxd. I literally just made it, and I put like what 3 of the movies on there on there. I think that like the first Saw I think is genuinely really good. Like I think it's a genuinely decent movie. Not even like a guilty pleasure. I think that one's like like really good. My
It's actually
favorite.
a well written movie. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, there's some stupid stuff, but for the most part, it's good. Saw 2 enjoyable, not great. Probably definitely guilty pleasure, but I enjoyed it. But then like after that, it was like up and down. Saw 6, I like have a weird almost love for. And Saw X to me is like this one was like kind of back to that like Saw 6 feeling. And I really enjoyed that. I love it's stupid in a way, but in a way that feels like it's almost aware that it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think while also being weirdly compelling.
Very,
It's
very.
weird because like technically this should not work. I mean, it's a movie that for the most part you're just watching John Kramer like live his life almost for like the first half of this movie, where you're just like watching him like um
Here,
think
hold
like
keep carrying on your thought for 1 quick second. Sorry, one more time.
all right. No one's even watching, man.
Sorry about that. Okay.
No one's even watching.
Last time that'll happen, promise.
So I wasn't even gonna try to carry it because I'm like, no one's even watching. There's no reason to carry it. But yeah, it's like it's so funny. The first half of this movie is just hilarious in its own way. You got him like, you got him like, literally he's just sitting on the bench making saw traps out in the open, just thinking of saw traps out in the open. He sees a guy stealing like something, and he automatically just envisions everything he's gonna do with the saw trap.
Yeah, like with the eyeball thing, I was like, wait, it wasn't real? What?
Yeah, like that. Like you guys just marketed that thing like so heavily too. Like that was the
It
poster.
really did. It made it seem like this was going to be the trap, and it was real. It was pretty cool, but I don't know if I would say it's the trap. Like it's iconic enough of a look to have a poster. I will say that. Like it looks pretty cool on the poster, but it's like, is the thing even going to kill the guy, or is he just going to lose his eyeballs? Like
I wish it was more violent. Honestly, I wish it like sucked the blood out of his head or something like that too. Like the eyeballs just go out and like that's all that happens. I wish it was just fucking like you just saw streams of blood just like red.
yeah, like is
like,
it actually gonna kill the guy, or is it just like
he's gonna be blind? I feel like he's just gonna be blind. Or like unless he just like kept sucking after and just started sucking like blood out of him or whatever.
Which it didn't show.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. And even then, it didn't even happen. It was all in his head.
Maybe that's why it saved it, because it's like a work in progress thing. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, it was so funny. Tobin Bell was great in terms of like he's the only really competent actor in this series.
Yeah. Like I like what Amanda's role means to the series, but some of her acting, like this one, she was okay, but in I think it was 3, I was like, oh my gosh, she's
the biggest issue of Shawnee Smith. The biggest issue of Shawnee Smith in this movie is her hair.
Oh, I hate her hairdo, dude. Like I don't like it very much at all.
Because another issue, it doesn't fit with the timeline of events because that's not where her hair was in. Because this is what takes place between Saw 2 and 3, or 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Her hair does not look like that in 1 or 2.
Yeah, it would really have to like really be in between. Like
like you, like she just have like a new phase for like a few days and then change back to her hair. She had the same hair, and I'm pretty sure she had about the same hair in Saw 1 and 2, and then just had like this weird, like almost like bowl cut in this one. That
yeah.
was so weird. And but like she had short hair in Saw 2, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah, it was just a little crazy, but it was short. And in the first one, it was
It was
I don't
long,
know.
but it was in a
It felt a little more right, like going from 1 to 2, I guess.
the first in Saw 1, she had it was long, but she was in a ponytail. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But like here, like that was the biggest distracting moment. Was just like, why is her hair like that?
Yeah.
Also, you can get away with Tobin Bell looking old. You can't get away with Shawnee Smith looking old in this movie because she's so much younger in the other movies, and here she looks so much older, even though it's supposed to take place like in those time frame of those movies.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that that's like you couldn't have at least done like a de-aging thing or done something to where make it look like you have the technology or even just like the makeup to do that.
Yeah, like it's not terrible, but it's definitely like okay, I definitely notice it. Like
Yeah, you could definitely fix it.
yeah.
The traps were not among the best, but not one of the worst either. It was decent. The traps were fun.
I
I
think
wish,
I don't really think like none of them were not good. Like I said, I wish the eyeball one there was actually like a confirmed way
yeah.
that the person would die.
Mhm.
But like aside from that, that's even just a nitpick because I still think the trap looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, and also the editing during that sequence, which is a little different than the design of the trap, but the editing during that bit was
Mhm.
really good, I think, too, in
Yeah.
terms of like how Saw traps, how the editing sequences
Mhm.
feel. But I think the brutality of like a lot of the traps were really good. I think definitely the brain one, I think, is just
Mhm.
so freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And the leg one too just
Yeah,
hurt
the
to
leg one's
watch.
really good. The whole bone marrow thing was kind of stupid, but like the only problem I have is that I feel like the time limits in this movie were so like rigged. It's
Yeah,
like okay, it takes them like what 30 seconds of the time to actually start doing the thing, and then they just die. It's like okay, so it's like it got to the point where like I just knew no one was going to survive this by like a certain point. I love the like when she saws off her leg thing. It looks great. One, like the practical effects look great.
it looked so
The
good.
sound design's great, and like everything in that scene looks great. Um, I like the brain surgery one. I like the concept of it. I don't know if realistically that would that can really
Yeah,
happen.
I can't
Yeah.
say I would know that either.
I don't. I feel like another issue too is that it takes forever for like both the bone marrow and that thing. It takes forever for the little scale to decide to not kill them, and that's why the time limit kind of sucks in this movie. Because in other movies, I feel like there's a better like time thing where you can actually realistically survive it.
Right.
Here it feels like at times that like why does the scale have to take so long to decide whether or not the thing works?
I understand that. It's like that eats into the time. So therefore, let's say if it was 2 minutes long, okay, it's actually a minute 45.
Yeah,
Like,
and I guess the idea is that like it's their fault for panicking for so long, but even then I'm like that scale feels like it's gonna screw you up regardless. Like
yeah,
that time's gonna screw you up regardless.
I can understand that. Yeah.
I love the editing for a Saw. Like Saw movies have this form of editing that, in ways, you can make arguments is not great because it's like so weird.
It's a
But I
little
think
hyper, is how it
but
is.
it works with like the tone and what it's going for. And the reason why Spiral sucks so fucking much is that they got rid of the editing for the most part, or made it way worse. Well, Spiral sucks for a ton of other different reasons too, but
Yeah, it's definitely one of the not like it's one of the bottom ones for sure.
I think Spiral was the worst. I think like Jigsaw is also really bad, but I think Spiral was like the bottom of the barrel for me.
I think my least favorite is actually 5. because I think 5 to me is the one I think is the most boring. Spiral, I don't think it's boring, but it just doesn't feel like a Saw movie, and that's why I don't like it. And Jigsaw, I think, is the definition of a movie or a sequel where it's trying to return to form, but it just doesn't land. And I don't like Jigsaw for that reason. It for a while was my least favorite. And it's not the bottom for me anymore, but I also don't think it's very good. But in regards to other ones, I mean, one I also would say is definitely, I think, the best one. Goes to show. I think, and then yeah, 2 I do like. 3 grew on me a lot. 4 is kind of a mixed bag for me. Like I'm kind of 50-50. There's some things I like, but then for almost every reason I like it, there's a reason that I don't. 5, like I said, and then leads to 6. 6 I also like. I also think that like for the middle portion segment of the franchise, it's definitely the best one. And then 3D, I mean, it's so stupid, but it's almost so okay. It's kind of like how we were talking about Thanksgiving earlier. Like
Yeah.
it's so not good, but I can't say that it's boring or not entertaining or not really funny. Like, and that's how I feel about 3D.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks. I almost said thanks killing. I'm gonna say Saw 3D. Saw 3D. I in ways love it for how like it is like top 5 for me of Saw. I like it more than a lot of like the other sequels. It's like my second favorite Hoffman era under Saw 6 because of how stupid it is, how hilarious it is. And it also like you got Kevin as a director, and I do think Kevin's actually a pretty decent director. I think it actually is. It's not horribly directed. It's just really bad in terms of like effects and like writing. Like you still have the stuff that Kevin does well. He knows how to make an entertaining Saw movie. He knows what people want from a Saw movie. Saw 6 especially is proof of that. Um, Spiral to me, I think is just the most insulting in ways. With its twist, the traps all suck. They feel the traps like there's some dumb traps in the series. Saw X has like one, or like Saw X doesn't have a dumb trap. It just has dumb parts of the traps. This and like, but like Spiral, there was not a single trap where I was like, oh, that's interesting, or that's no. It was all just garbage. It was all just like
yeah.
you
And
know,
also another thing too is Chris Rock being the protagonist.
yeah,
It's something I wanted it to work so bad,
yeah.
but I'm sorry, his line delivery is just, he
Remember that
doesn't
scene?
work in these dramatic roles. Like he just doesn't. He's a
You know that
comedian.
scene when he's in the car.
Oh, and he's
He's like,
yeah, like,
yeah,
oh my gosh. Or how about, or what's the part of the police station? Fuck me? No.
yeah.
Fuck you. I'm like,
Yeah.
what what
Or
is
the
this?
weird Forrest Gump thing at the beginning of the movie where he's like doing a weird tangent, like he's basically doing a comedy sketch
It did.
for
It
a lot of
felt
it.
like a not funny Chris Rock comedy
Hmm.
like sketch thing. Like,
Yeah, and Samuel Jackson felt like they casted him just so he could say motherfucker.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
you read interviews, if you listen to interviews, they literally said, I think it was Darren Lynn Bousman who was literally like, "Oh, we got Samuel Jackson, we gotta write motherfucker" or something like that. I'm like, that's a horrible way of thinking when it comes to
It's
writing.
like, yeah, he does it like, and it's kind of funny, but just go watch Pulp Fiction or something where he
Yeah,
does
like,
it.
if I want to listen to him say motherfucker, I would just watch like the best movie he said motherfucker in.
Yeah, exactly.
um, yeah, and but this, I think that's another reason why I liked Saw X. Also, was just that it was just not Spiral. It felt like such a big improvement, production wise, acting wise. Honestly, there's some the guy who played the brain surgery dude, the one who got brain surgery. He actually was not bad. He actually
Yeah,
like
you look good.
I could believe him. The villain lady was stupid and but like kind of funny. It was
She
also
played a real bitch, I can tell you that.
yeah,
Like,
she
she
was.
definitely played the part of a bitch, but I understand what you're saying. Like, as far as acting goes, like,
It was mustache twirling, like like oh, I'm so evil. It was so crazy too, just like making. It's so weird seeing John Kramer be like the main character, basically. Like, it's not a bad
it was
idea.
a different change of pace.
I think it works well for this movie, honestly, that he's like kind of the main character. But it's also like there's so much logic leaps and just like you have to suspend your disbelief so much with this movie in certain
So,
parts.
what would you say in terms of? So, what is your favorite sequel at this point?
Saw 6.
Saw 6. I think this one low key might be my new favorite. I like this
This is
one
my second favorite.
quite a lot. Are you second favorite?
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah, no, I liked this one quite a lot. Like I
Mhm.
said, 2 is really up there. 3 is up there now. It wasn't before, but it is now. And 6 I also really like too, but
I so reason why this isn't like one. I think Saw 6 has better traps, and I think
the shotgun one's so good. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah, the shotgun one, even like the other ones, like the one where he's like holding on to the two like sides and trying to just decide which one he kills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like so that like even those traps are really good. I think the opening trap's also really
The
good.
opening is brutal as shit. Like
Yeah, and here you have one. There is actually no opening trap unless you count like the eyeball one as somewhat of an opening trap. And that was an interesting one too. It's also the ending's also kind of silly. It's really funny. The ending, how it's like they're walking out of the shed and it just
I
goes
don't know
south.
why, dude. It for some reason felt like I don't even know how to explain it. It felt like a victory, which
Yeah,
it is for them, but like then the movie a second you're like hoorah, and then you're like, oh wait, they're kind of
yeah, yeah. They're the bad
villains.
guys. Wait,
And it's like,
they're the guys that we were like supposed to be afraid of. And
yeah,
then
exactly.
I actually kind of like the post credit scene too. I thought that was kind of a fun little thing.
A little nod to yeah, to the
Yeah,
series.
Hoffman. I like the little spinning camera thing too at the end. It was weird, but I kind of liked it. I wish we saw what actually happened to the guy. Be like,
Yeah.
I could kind of tell what was happening, like with just how the trap looked. I guess the thing is like if he doesn't do something at a certain time, he's gonna like it's gonna basically create the scar for him. Except this time it's gonna go deeper. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna it's gonna replicate the scar, but it's not gonna create the scar. It's gonna just cut him in half
I
and cut
also
the
think
piece about him.
the plot itself of this one
Mhm.
probably my in terms of right excuse me in terms of writing probably my favorite story of any of the sequels because it was just so mm, like from square one Jigsaw as a murderer
Mhm.
if you count him as one, which he is, but he also kind of isn't. It's like he's always been about like recorrecting people
Mhm.
and like showing that like yeah, he's not doing things the right way, but as twisted as his intentions were, they are still kind of like in a coming from a good place. Weirdly enough, it's because he
Yeah.
wants people to appreciate life that don't. And whereas, like, he's like, here I am, I'm dying, and you know, I just want those who are living healthy to like take full advantage of that.
Mhm.
And so it's coming from a good place as best as it can be, should I say. But this movie, unlike the other ones, well, not unlike the other ones, but more so than the other ones, I feel like real voice crack, fuck, really like go went to show like you said the empathetic
Mhm.
side, and you're like, I don't
Yeah.
know, you just really did almost think of him like a hero in this one
Yeah.
more than I did for any of the other ones,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's a weird one because on one hand he has trapped people for like the stupidest reasons. Oh, you smoke. Guess that means you're gonna fucking like and like the problem with is like the reason why I don't like the idea that people give like oh he's actually not a killer is that one you're putting them in the traps that kill them. Two, you're doing more damage than good by what you're doing because like the guy who was smoking in Saw 6 isn't gonna be able to stop smoking now.
Yeah.
he's dead.
Exactly.
You kind of just like if he like okay if he succeeds, yeah, maybe he'll stop smoking. But if he fails, he's just gonna die.
Yeah.
So like you're not gonna like, and even if he succeeds, you don't know if he's gonna stop smoking or not. Um, but like stuff like that. I will say this movie had slightly better reasons for why he was like putting them in traps, except
Yeah.
the drug addict. The drug addict one, he's always put drug addicts in here, and I guess it's because they killed his baby or whatever. But it's always felt like a weird one where it's like, can't you just like send them to rehab? Like they didn't, they're
Aside
not
from
doing
that,
it.
though, yeah, they're all pieces. They're all
Yeah,
pieces of shit for
like
sure.
the dude who, all the scammers and stuff. I understand them. The only one I didn't fully understand was like the lady who seemed to be more just there, like the lady who got like radiated or whatever.
Oh, the one with the heat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't think she needed to be trapped. I like especially if he's acting, especially if he's gonna act like I don't know the way he was acting like when the lady killed her. I was like, well, you kind of put her in a situation, buddy. What did you expect was gonna happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is definitely one of the better ones in terms of writing, I guess, as far as a Saw movie can go. Because you still got the obvious writing issues, like how did he even like predict all this stuff was going to happen with the boyfriend? And he kind of got lucky with all that. But like, yeah, it's like character wise, some of the best characters in a Saw movie probably. I actually was interested in what like who they were, like, and actually wanting them to succeed at times, especially like even like the shitty guy who like scammed him, the brain surgery guy. Like you still felt bad for him. It was like imagine having to dig into your own brain like that. If that's even possible, I don't think that's
Yeah.
possible though. I'm pretty sure he'd be like, I don't know what would happen if you had to. I don't. Wouldn't like putting that into your brain automatically make you like paralyzed or something?
I
Wouldn't
would
that
think
like
so.
wouldn't that mess you up terribly? Especially like there's reasons why doctors have like anesthesia and stuff also. It's not just to keep you like asleep and like I'm pretty sure there's actual reasons for it too. Like there's stuff they give you and stuff to make sure nothing bad happens to you during surgery. Like there's the precautions that they take. And he's never done it before, so when he had just like put it in there and then just got just
I feel like it's probably the most unrealistic one
yeah.
for sure.
But like I felt, and there were like there were things where like I fully understood like the pain of like sawing your leg off, especially with the way that he made her do it.
Oh yeah, it's that was pretty
I mean,
brutal, dude.
slowly having to pull it, and like if you stop, then you're dead basically. And then having to stab something into like the what used to be your leg to and drain something out of you, and probably it also hurts to have that stuff drained out of you that way,
Yeah.
like taking a like yeah, that's cool too. The bloodboarding trap was decent. I liked it. I liked the idea of putting a kid in a trap too. A part of me wishes they had killed him, just because it would have added more to like. Because
It's
when
like
you kill,
even the kids aren't safe in this one.
yeah, it's like, but then they kind of saved him. I guess I understood why they saved him, but I think it always like adds more if he had actually died. I think it
Yeah.
would have added certain things to it, but whatever. They're not gonna kill a kid, especially in such a way, especially in such a brutal way. I guess they're not Ari Aster,
Exactly.
who's just gonna like
That was
murder.
pretty screwed, yeah.
Yeah, who's just completely like. I need to rewatch Hereditary. I do. Or I think Midsummer also had kid dying.
Beau's Afraid she's I mean a teenager, but still
Yeah,
minor.
didn't wasn't there a child death at like the beginning of Midsummer? Wasn't it like the parents and also someone else?
I don't know if she was well, it was the sister, but I don't know if she was underage.
Yeah,
Maybe she was, but
I don't
she
remember.
was young
Yeah,
nonetheless.
I don't remember. Midsummer is probably my favorite of his so far that I've
Nice.
seen.
I mean, I
Uh,
like all three of them, so
yeah, I need to rewatch Hereditary. But yeah, like Saw X, I was shocked that I gave it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I was fully like, I'm like, this is probably not gonna be great. I mean, but I was like, damn, this is actually like it. Like, if I make like an end of the year video or something like that, it'll probably be like the honorable mention for like my, I guess like guilty pleasures of the year or like my favorites
yeah.
of the year. more just based off of my own enjoyment than anything else. Because it was enjoyable. I think it's a little too long. It's like 2 hours long. Most Saw movies are not 2 hours long,
I can agree on that.
and it's like it could have definitely been shortened, but it's still enjoyable. It's still like I understand why this is like some of people's favorite horror movie of the year and stuff like that. I understand why people are absolutely love this thing. Like I understand it's got what you usually want from a Saw movie. The gore, you got the kind of the almost so bad it's good elements. You got the editing and the cinematography that you usually see in a Saw movie. That's actually not that bad either. Even here there was actually some shots that I was like, oh damn, that's not bad for like what this is. Like this, like I feel like these are like usually Saw movies aren't the best shot thing in the world, but here it was like Kevin, you're definitely a step up over like everything we've had before, at least everything since Saw 6 in terms of visuals.
Yeah.
Um, it's one that I don't know if I could say I'd watch again. I'm not a big rewatcher as a whole, but I'd probably like I don't know, like I feel like I'd recommend it
Yeah.
to like, people who want to have that experience and just like, and I feel like it's just one that I think it's one I've looked back at mostly fondly. Um, I even like this more than like Mutant Mayhem and like more like praised movies of this year
Hmm.
because it's just like it's I feel like it knows what it is. It knows that it's a Saw movie. It delivers on what a Saw movie should be, and even kind of spins some things to make sure it's not just another Saw movie. You got a new perspective, a perspective that I think mostly works. I definitely hope this is not a constant. I would like to go back to if we're gonna if there's a Saw 11, which there probably will be. I do want Tobin Bell to come back because he's like the best part of this series.
Yeah.
But we definitely should go back to like how Saw 6 was, or how like that type of and let Kevin direct for the rest of the series. No one else should be directing for the rest of the series. Not even James Wan,
Yeah.
because James Wan for me has not done a great track record recently, and I don't want to see what he would do coming back. Let Kevin direct for the rest of the series. Let Tobin Bell be in this series because he's pretty old. So you're not going to be able to use a lot of him in the future. I'm worried because I'm worried that, and that's the reason why Spiral sucks so much too. Is that you have so much you have it's like especially since the big gap in between 2017 with Jigsaw and 2021. That's so many years of not using Tobin Bell when
Yeah.
you should be using him while you still can.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't be like, 4 and onward where he's not in it.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, and they could get away with that then because he wasn't as old or isn't as like. But now I feel like this is one of those moments where if you're gonna make another Saw movie, he needs to be in it. If you're gonna continue the series, and once he dies or once he retires, you end the series.
yeah.
That's when you end the series. Is that you just? But I'm not against them making more as long as it stays the way it is with Saw X, where it's more just like a fun. And we never do Spiral again,
I agree. I
or
agree.
Jigsaw again.
Yeah.
Just continue with Kevin, or if you even want to get like if you want to get James Wan back, maybe that would be a good idea. I just don't love a lot. I just don't really like a lot of what he's done since Saw.
He just needs to make the best movie he's made since whenever. Yeah.
Saw basically because that's like I don't think I like The Conjuring, I guess, but
First one's pretty good. It's pretty good, I think.
most of what he's made, like I did not like *Malignant*. I don't. Aquaman is kind of a so bad. It's a good movie at times, but for the most part, it's kind of bad or pretty bad actually. And Insidious sucked. I hated Insidious. Chapters 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and all of them. But he directed only 1 and 2, and I'm like, I binged the entire Insidious series for my Spooktober binge this year. I should not have done that. I was by movie 4. I was like, I shouldn't have done this. I should have picked. I could have picked. And what's even funny, like I watched Cabin Fever recently by Eli Roth. I'm like, I should have. There were so many better movies. Be like, that movie's actually kind of decent. I'm like, yeah, there were so many better movies I could have picked other than Insidious.
Yeah.
This is one of them. Like, why did I just do Eli Roth's filmography since he made a movie that he's making a movie this year, or he made a movie this year since it's out now? I don't know when I'm gonna watch Thanksgiving. Probably once it comes out on VOD.
I'm gonna see it before it leaves theaters. I obviously can't see it right now because I'm not 100%, but
Totally, yeah.
I'll see it before it leaves for sure.
Yeah. I watched the short film recently that it's based off of. That's great.
The Grindhouse thing,
Yeah, I want to watch Grindhouse soon. I want to watch like that entire special.
I need to do that too. I haven't actually. I saw Death Proof by itself, but I didn't see Planet Terror.
Same.
And then I haven't seen any of the short films by Eli Roth or Edgar Wright or any of the other stuff. So
I only saw Eli Roth's short film recently. I want to watch the rest, but if I'm going to watch the rest of the short films, I want to do it in the Grindhouse style, where it's literally just like in the Grindhouse special, then watching it. Also, I would not be against watching Death Proof again because Death Proof is pretty awesome. For what I remember.
I really like Death Proof. Yeah.
So I would not be against, and I feel like Death Proof is one that every time I see like the poster or whatever, I just like remember it very fondly. I'm just like, yeah, that's a pretty cool movie. That's a pretty cool Tarantino movie.
I really like Death Proof.
It's weird that I get why he hates it, or he doesn't hate it, but he has like a weird Tarantino has quoted saying it's his worst movie. I don't know how he can say that when Jackie Brown exists, but
oh man, yeah, no, I agree. I'm sorry, Jackie Brown is it's the only one I don't like. The only one I don't like.
Jackie Brown is like, I don't hate it, but I'm like, what were you doing when making this movie?
Not as good in quality. It's like,
okay, from
you have Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. You come on the scene with that. It's like, holy shit, who is this guy? True Romance. Obviously he wrote and didn't direct it, but just being associated with the film. I mean, I don't love that one as much as like most do, but you know what? It's still a really interesting story, I think. Pulp Fiction's obviously a banger. Yeah. And then I can't remember if Natural Born Killers came out before Jackie Brown. I can't remember.
Sure it came out after. I want to say it's 1998.
Okay. Well, before or after Natural Born Killers, I also think is a banger. But and then maybe even From Dusk Till Dawn came out around that time too.
Actually, I'm wrong. So, Natural Born Killers came out the same year as Pulp Fiction.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well, there you go then.
And From Dusk Till Dawn, I think, was like the year after Pulp Fiction.
Year after, okay. So yeah, and then From Dusk Till Dawn, also
actually 2 years, but yeah.
Also a very entertaining film, I think.
I need to watch that one.
It's so good, dude. But then Jackie Brown comes along, and it's like, look, I'm gonna say it looks like it should be a polished movie, but it just isn't. Like,
it's so weird because it's like you have a great cast in terms of like just like Robert De Niro, Samuel Jackson,
Pam Grier. Yeah,
there's a few others too that I can't remember their names, but like you have interesting ideas. You had Tarantino directing, and I'm pretty sure he also wrote it. Yeah, he wrote most of all his. I think he writes all his movies.
He writes all his movies. Yeah.
He's a writer director, and but like, I remember just like I watched that, and it was the only Tarantino movie that ever bored me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I watched it with my mom, and she fell asleep, and I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess, whatever. There's like some good moments. The dialogue is like his worst. It's
easily.
What is there even a dialogue? I can't remember a scene in this movie that I remember. Oh, I remember the only dialogue scene I remember is a scene between Samuel Jackson and like one other character that was like a side character. Like most of it was just like the cinematography was like at its worst.
There's nothing special about the cinematography at all. Like the shot of her on that trackway thing in the airport is kind of cool, I guess. But like that's 2 seconds of the over 2 hour long movie.
It's weird, just like because then he made Kill Bill, which is my favorite of his. and like it's just like Pulp Fiction high, Jackie Brown low.
And
Pulp
Kill
Fiction
Bill
high.
has some of the best in the entire catalog of
Yeah,
cinematography.
and directing, acting, all of it, and it's just like it's crazy that I mean like I guess it's not rare. Like directors do have just that one this like flop that's just like almost all directors have that one movie, I guess.
That's
That's just
true,
like
but I'm telling you, like that one is just such a decline compared to
it's a
the other ones.
generous 5 out of 10 for me. It's like I give it a 5 out of 10 because I do like the film. It's good filmmaking. It's just not special. It's
Yeah,
not Tarantino. Like Tarantino usually I can pick out certain shots from like Pulp Fiction or Django Unchained or Kill Bill. Or I can pick out certain performances and certain parts of those movies that stuck with me. Not cannot do that with
not
Jackie
with
Brown.
Jackie Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
same way here.
even like his first movie, Reservoir Dogs, like so
I
much
love
more.
Reservoir Dogs,
Yeah,
dude.
Reservoir is awesome. Even my best friend's birthday, I remember more of that than I do Jackie Brown. Because I remember like the weird foot fetish line from my best friend's birthday,
Yeah,
and how we didn't. It's funny that like that basically paved the way towards entire filmography.
it would. Yeah,
It's it makes me wonder if he was telling the truth because it was his character that said the foot fetish line too. I'm wondering now, was he actually just confessing to having a foot fetish because the rest of the series kind of showed that. And I'm excited for his next movie, the movie Critic. I heard he wanted to get Bruce Willis as a part of it, and I'm like, how? That's not
yeah.
the. He's not acting anymore.
We'll just see what happens.
I guess he can pull him out of retirement for like one last movie, but his condition, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, dude. That
Yeah,
would be really cool, but
but yeah, I don't know. Are we done? I
yeah,
don't.
I think we should probably call it. So, Saw X, you said 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. But
For
yeah,
me, clearly enjoyment here, but I'm actually going to go a soft 8. Actually, I like this one a lot. And I'm a big fan of the series in general. It's one of my favorite horror franchises. Definitely one of the most consistent, for sure. I think there's like it's not even half of the movies are good and half aren't. I think half are really fun and half are yeah.
yeah. It's like I have like 4 movies in the series that are like I like 3 6 out of 10s and like 1 7 that I would say are very fun, very enjoyable. Saw 3D is like a 4 out of 10, but I'd say it's also pretty fun. This is a 4 out of 10 because it's just like so bad.
Yeah.
But like the rest, I mean, yeah, the rest aren't great. But yeah, it's consistent in the fact that like it's like what you're kind of getting into with a Saw movie. You know what to expect, and this movie even still kind of like surprised me with certain things that they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a I'm not gonna say it's even a low 6. It's like just a medium 6.
Solid 6, yeah.
Yeah, solid 6 for me because it's like it's enjoyable. It's fun. It's stupid, but I feel like it kind of wears it on its sleeves. It understands what it is. Kevin, of course, should know what it is at this point in time, and he does. And I hope that if they do make Saw 11 or 12 or 13 or however they want to make, he continues to direct them, or at least people like him, people who actually like want to add something to the series, and not Darren Lynn Bousman or whoever directed Saw Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Just someone who's more understanding of the series, and don't get Chris Rock back
No.
because regardless of what he says, he does not understand the series.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if an actor comes to you, dear, what was it like Lionsgate or Lucasfilm or whatever who owns this? I don't remember who owns this.
Yeah, it's Lionsgate.
Dear Lionsgate, if an actor who is not usually experienced in horror comes to you and says they have an idea for a Saw movie, reject it.
Exactly.
Reject it. Now, if someone else comes in that like you can trust, maybe like someone who's actually experienced in horror or experienced in something like imagine like a Gaspar Noé Saw movie. That'd be crazy. But like just someone who's actually more experienced, that's fine. But don't get like Chris Rock, just not Chris Rock, or
Yeah.
like I don't know, like Dwayne Johnson.
Oh gosh, that would be a nightmare.
He's so self-indulgent. It would be awful. Like it's like he would never get in the salt trap or anything like that. He'd be like, "Oh no, I'm too cool. I'm just
You'd
gonna
be
be
like,
that."
yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, this was fun doing this with you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Definitely. I know we
I,
went on a Tarantino craze for a little while,
I
but
mean,
you
it's
know
hard
what?
not to when you're
It's
on
hard
something.
not to fall down a rabbit hole at some point.
Also, we're having fun. No one watched. Barely anyone watched, but whatever. They'll watch it when it turns to a video, I guess.
That's like, yeah, I was about to say, hopefully, like you'll probably get more viewers when it finishes. But
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, like I said earlier, I think I said this earlier, but you weren't on stream yet. When I was doing this on Instagram, it's always hard to figure out what's a good time to stream. It's always good hard to for me. Like I'll try to do it during the day. No one, night, no one. I'm like, and I'm starting to realize maybe it's just because I don't have enough subscribers or enough people that like even like know that I'm doing this. I don't know. I have like 100 subscribers. I think I don't know,
mm-hmm.
but yeah. Either way, this is fun. Go follow Fritski or Alex on YouTube. I will probably edit the description on here to show his channel. Because I didn't do that because we were in a hurry. Um, follow him on Instagram, Letterbox. I don't know what else you have.
That's about it. Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah, whatever else he has, you'll probably see it on his channel. Um, and of course, subscribe to here. Follow me on Letterbox and Instagram. That's about it too. I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm blanking. Oh, and of course, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to go on my Discord server. Actually, that's be a bad idea. I mean, if you wanna, I think I have the link in like my bio. But yeah, this is fun. I hope I can do more streams like this. Maybe with like you, of course, or someone else. If anyone else would like to do a stream with me, that'd be awesome. At some point, just I'd love to have Alex back or just anyone. But yeah, I think we're gonna end this. My back hurts from sitting against this. I'm literally just sitting on my bed. I'm sitting on my bed with no mic, no nothing. But yeah. All right. I guess we're gonna end this.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all later.
See ya. End stream.